Okay, I think we're recording. I hope we're recording. Good day, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I wasn't really planning on making this video until I saw somebody else kind of, I think it was it hog shot rides or heg shot rides, or I don't remember. Something like that. Made a video about, is the Sturgis rally dying? And it made me think of something that I heard the professional monkey say once, that a lot about the Sturgis rally depends on what kind of Sturgis you're looking for. By the way, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Today's ride is two-part. Number one, get some a little bit of distance on this thing. Number two, see if this new Torpack latch decides that it's going to stay closed. I did put the genuine Harley-Davidson latch on it, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see if it'll stay closed with that. It feels different. It doesn't feel like it's... Let's put it this way. The genuine Harley latch doesn't feel like it holds it down as tight, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, like I said, like, share, sub, all that good stuff. Still trying to figure out between these two cameras how to do everything, and yeah, all that stuff. So today's topic is going to be not so much is the rally dying, but this will probably be part of the How to Sturgis series. It's going to be all the types of, yeah, I guess we could say that, all the types of Sturgis rally goers there are. And I think there's probably four primary types, and then one is kind of, jack of all, and yeah. So let's start with the people who are out there that are going to be, and also in addition where they're going to spend most of their time. So let's start with the one that's the most easiest, and that's the vendor hound, the guy who's got to see the latest and greatest thing that's available now for his Herbie-Derby-Der or Indian or whatever. It doesn't matter. Those types of riders, I mean, there's not a ton of them, but they're out there. Maybe they want to demo ride a bunch of bikes. Maybe they're interested in a new bike and they're looking to see not only what's out there aftermarket, for parts and accessories, but in addition, what kind of bike he wants. Maybe he's going to spend a day, at the Yamaha tent, test riding 3 or 4 different bikes to see which one he likes better. Maybe he's going to spend half a day at the Indy tent, or at the rally, at one of the Harley demo trucks or whatever, trying to figure out, well, what kind of bike is going to be right for him. Which, that's important, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to knock and say it's not important. It is. But those people, like for me, a good example, I might spend a day of the 2 weeks I'll be there. I hope to be there for 2 weeks. I might go into that later. But I might spend a day of the 2 weeks or so that I'll be in Sturgis for doing, demo rides, and okay, when I decide to turn this in, do I stay with a Harley? Do I go to an Indian? Do I go to a Japanese bike? I don't think I'm going to go to a metric, a Euro, but who knows? Weirder stuff has happened. I'm not saying I'm getting rid of this anytime soon. I'm not. I'm keeping. My plan is to keep this thing for at least another year or two. Part of it is just when you just spent, when I just, considering the fact that I just spent, $6 grand rebuilding the motor, putting the cam in it and all that stuff, it's like, why would I get rid of it now? That makes no sense. So that kind of person you're going to find primarily at 2 places. Main Street, because there's a ton of the vendors, and I think we mentioned last time, I might drop a link somewhere here if I remember, because I'm an idiot, at the vendor video, and that kind of person you're going to see either on Main Street downtown, centered around the J&P Cycles, because that's where A lot of the vendors happen to set up shop at is right next to J&P Cycles, or within, let's call it 3 to 4 blocks either way from there. And if you got to know, the J&P Cycles in Sturgis is just to the west of where all the bars are. Flags and hats and blah 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 blah. Rally flags, okay. What kind of rally are we doing? Bird almost took me out. I hope the audio's working on this, but I know I don't have a ton of video on the Insta360, but hey, squirrel! But yeah, we're going to try to do this as best we can. So that, stay there. Now we got the big crossing. I hope the audio's coming out okay. So the other place you're going to see the vendor hounds and is going to be centered around Black Hills Harley Davidson. Of course, there you're going to be looking more at stuff geared towards Harleys, of course, but you will have stuff also there that are for like that work with Indians as well, and you have places like Saddleman and S&S and Ciro and a bunch of those guys are at the Rally Day 55. Demo truck wise, everybody sets up in and around Sturgis, in and around the town of Sturgis. I mean, Harley I know generally has at least 2 or 3 demo trucks around. I'm sure a lot of the others are the same way, so if you're looking for that, just get on their Facebook pages and look. I'm sure that as we get close to the rally, like was it Biker Insider or something like that? I don't remember. I might put a link to their thing from last year somewhere again in the description and comments, if you're looking for that. But yeah, primarily that kind of guy you will find at downtown to the Rally Day 55. Myself, yeah, I spend a day there, and then if certain YouTube personalities are doing a meet and greet or something like that, yeah, I might go ahead and stop by for that. But that's not the reason that I go to Sturgis. I mean, that's you see some cool stuff, but that's not number 1. That's like number 6. So far she's holding, and the wind feels like it's into and across. So the next kind will be the Bar Hound, and primarily they're going to hang out in downtown Sturgis. And I'll do at some point as we get closer an eating and drinking video. The best places to grab a drink, to grab a cocktail, to grab a burger, really nice meals and stuff. I'll do that at some point. Exactly when, I don't know. I don't have a schedule for this. I leave 12 weeks from yesterday, so that tells you kind of time frame wise where we're going to be at. God willing, I'll get a video done every like 2 to 3 weeks on this. Top tip: if you're going to be partaking in the liquid refreshments, do not ride your motorcycle. You will not get away with it. The DUI is going to cost you $10,000 to $15,000. You will lose at least a whole day, if not more, of your rally, and you will go to jail. Just don't do it, please. And that goes without saying, the fact that if you do, you run a good risk of hurting yourself or somebody else. So yet again, don't do it. But yeah, the bar hopper, the person who just wants to be there, that's an easy one. You're there for that scene. Yeah, that's an easy one to go off of. The next type there to ride. I'm just there to lay down miles. I want to hit Iron Mountain Road, Needles, the Wildlife Loop, Spearfish Canyon, Banneker Canyon, the Badlands Loop, and all the other tremendous rides that are in and around that area. That person you're going to find on the road. You're going to find them on Needles, on Iron Mountain, yeah. Top couple of tips with that. Needles Highway will back up. Don't be surprised, especially around Needles Eye Tunnel, if it takes you 20 minutes to a half an hour to get through there. Yeah. The first couple times you do Needles and Iron Mountain, go slow. The speed limit, I believe, is 25 or 35 on it, and yeah, you need to be doing, you shouldn't be doing more than 30 mile an hour for the most part on Needles or Iron Mountain the first couple times you ride it. And the most important thing when it comes to things like that is ride your ride. If you're not comfortable doing more than 20 miles an hour on Needles Highway, don't do more than 20 miles an hour. Just know that you're going to have people who are going to want to go around you. If you've got a line of guys that are, right on your keister, find somewhere to pull off, wave them by. If they want to go faster, then you let them. There's a few areas that'll be, I don't want to say straight, because there's not a whole lot of spots on Needles and Iron Mountain that are straight, but that you can get one or two bikes if you check out the throttle and kind of wave them around. Just let them go. Pull in his shoulder, let them go close to the center, and let them go. There's nothing wrong with that. This isn't a macho thing. Don't think that, well, just because I only want to do 20 mile an hour, everybody behind me is going to go 20 mile an hour. All you're going to do is piss off everybody behind you. Alright, so that's just a tip there. There are numerous, just following up on that, there are a decent amount of turnoffs and pullouts. So don't be afraid to use them. If you see 4 or 5 bikes lined up right on your ass, pull off for a minute. Stop. Get a drink of water. Or don't. Just pull off. Let everybody go by you. And the other thing is, if you're Speedy Gonzalez here, don't get up in the ass on a pack of bikes for a couple of reasons. Number one, there are clubs in the area, and if you're getting too close, they will see that as a threat, and you might get a stern talking to that you really don't want to get. If you're going to come up on a pack of bikes, especially if it looks like it's a dedicated pack, just go up slow. There's no harm in that. If they're not in a club, they'll let you go. At some point, they'll find a spot to let you go, and because they might be in the same boat, they may have a fairly newer rider to Sturgis that only wants to go, let's say, 25, 30 mile an hour and enjoy the scenery and everything else. Now, that's part of why I got this stuff, is I can enjoy the riding and then get the pictures later. But not everybody has that option. If you're going to ask me which one is okay, if you want to ask me to pick one that's my personal favorite road, it's probably Iron Mountain. Probably Iron Mountain. Yeah, it would probably be Iron Mountain Road. Probably my favorite. Yeah, that's my personal favorite. wildlife loop. You will need a flag like this to ride Needles Highway. Generally what they do is it's $20 per bike. For the entire length of the rally, they put a flag like that on your handlebars the first time you go by. After that, you can go right on by and either just point at it or, you know, yeah, that's generally what you're going to do, is you're just going to go right on by. Or if you slow down, all you got to do is just, hey, my thing's right here. Badlands, of course, is a national park, so you do have to buy a pass from them. I think it's $25 per bike. It's either like $20 or $25 per bike. They do not take cash; it's credit only. They do take, if you have one of the year-long passes, or if you're or if you've got a you know, if you're, I think like wounded or disabled veterans get lifetime passes for free. Active duty, I think is, if you're active duty and you're on leave, I do believe active duty is free. I might be wrong. I don't know that for a fact, but just if you get free access to the national parks, then you're good. If you have access to national parks, then you're good with the Badlands. Rushmore, it's free to go to, but there is like a $10 per bike parking fee to actually get into the area of the monument. But there's a ton of places around Mount Rushmore that you can stop at, pull off at, and get a picture. So you don't have to spend the money if you don't want to. I like going over there for a little bit because it's neat to see, pick up something cool for the nieces and nephews and all that stuff. So as for those people, where should you, if you're going to ask me where should you stay at, go over real quick, where should you stay at as each one of these categories? Well, if you're going to be a vendor hound, personally, my advice would be stay in Rapid. You're right at the rally at X55, and you're only 30 miles away from Sturgis. In addition, you're going to spend significantly less staying over there than you would if you went to, if you stayed in Sturgis. That's also kind of a reason why, if you're there to just lay down miles, Rapid's not a bad option, because from Rapid you're at the gateway to Custer State Park, to Iron Mountain Needles and the Wildlife Loop, and you're 30 miles closer to being at the Badlands. So yeah, you also can stay if you're there to ride. Spearfish isn't a bad option. Yet again, more hotels for the most part than the city of Sturgis. Be a little bit cheaper. But if you're there to really lay down miles, staying as far away as you know, the far east side of Rapid, or even all the way over to or even all the way into Wyoming, into, you know, Gillette or Sundance. Now, yes, you're going to have, you know, 2 hours to get back to Sturgis to get to the good rides, but if you're there to lay down miles, what's the big deal? If you're going to save $100 a night, why wouldn't you? So, as for if you're going to be a party animal, you pretty much want to stay in Sturgis if you're there just for the party. Now, exactly how you stay, where you stay, campground, hotel, Airbnb, that's up to you. I have an RV. I will be, hello. I think I caught a little vacuum or something, or I had a weird breeze. I will be staying at my RV. I have a kitchen. I have a shower. I have ways to keep beverages cold. Most campgrounds liquor in. Well, let me rephrase. Pretty much all of them reserve the right to search your vehicle. Whether or not they actually do is completely up to them. I stayed at the chip twice. I stayed at the Steel Pony the last 2 years, and my vehicles never got searched, but know that can happen. And if they find any booze, they're going to confiscate it. So yeah, make sure you hide it well. You know, there's ways if you want to hide it, but just make sure you hide it if you're going to try to sneak it into some places. And that brings me to the last group, and that's, I'm there for all of it. I want to ride. I want to see the cool stuff. I want to party. I want to see live music. Well, if that's what you're there for, you really have two primary options, and then you've got a little bit of a third too. The big acts generally play at one of two places. The Buffalo Chip, which has David Lee Roth. They have I think the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is coming back. Skinner's coming back. Lainey Wilson, I think, is their big new act. Skillet's supposed to be there, and I'm really excited to see Skillet. I know there's bands I'm missing. If you are a fan of a particular band that I did not mention, I'm sorry, but I cannot be remembering the entire schedule when I'm on my bike. The other place that a lot of the major acts are now starting to play is the Full Throttle Saloon. The Full Throttle used to just have like rally famous type bands, and they still do during the day, prior to like 5 o'clock or something like that. It's completely free to get into, but if you want to go out back to where the stage is, when the concert's about to start, you have to have a pass. Now, you can have, if you're staying at the Pappy Hoyle Campground, all the concerts at the Throttle are included because it's the same property. But your concert passes, you know, your camping passes, or concert tickets, or whatever they technically call them at the Throttle, are between like $50 and $100 depending on who the act is. So Journey was supposed to play, but they canceled for some reason. I don't know if it's because of the Throttle or if it's something that came up or whatever, because Journey's doing their farewell tour. Now, whether or not it's their final farewell tour or not, I don't have a clue. But yeah, so that's Journey's doing a farewell tour, so that might have had something to do with it. But other big acts, Sammy Hagar's there. I believe Jackal's playing there at the Bikers Ball. Jamie Johnson is going to be there. There's a bunch of decent names that if I was staying there, would I go see? Absolutely. But I'm not staying there, so I'm not going to go out of my way to go see them. There are rally famous bands at pretty much all the bars. For the most part, most of the bars, at least last year, general admission was free. There was no charge for the concerts like at the Iron Horse or the Knuckle. Just make sure you get there early if you want somewhere to sit. Otherwise, you may or may not have somewhere to sit. You may have to be kind of a standing room only situation. Now, I did go to the Knuckle the night that Colt Ford played and Jasmine fucking Kane opened for it, and Jasmine was excellent. If you've never seen Jasmine play, you need to see Jasmine play. She puts on a good show. And the other place that you could stay if you're there for, concerts and you want to see everything, is kickstands. Kickstand has a stage. They have decent food. They have. The only downside is that they started charging for concerts a couple of years ago, and no offense, but the level of concerts they have, I don't think it's worth a $25 cover. That's just my asshole-ish opinion. And if anyone from Kickstands sees this, I'm not throwing shade at you. That's just my not-so-expert opinion. The other tip I'm going to do is stay where you're going to end the night. So if you're going to go and get liquored up going to a concert, make sure you have transportation back to where your home base is. Don't try to ride drunk. Cops will be lined up, leaving the chip, leaving the throttle. You will be, as it's sometimes referred to as, running a gauntlet. And the speed limit is, I believe the speed limit gets dropped to either 35 or 45 down 34 between the chip and downtown. You do the speed limit, and even if you do the speed limit, there's a chance you might get pulled over. And it's not the cops are being dicks. They're not. They're trying to make sure you're not riding drunk. That's all. They want to make sure you're not riding drunk. And if you're not drunk, even if you're going, let's say 42 and a 35, more than likely, they're not even going to write you a ticket. They might just tell you, hey, slow down. They are there more than anything, all the cops in the area are there more than anything for DUIs. They really aren't looking to get speeding tickets. I mean, they will if they got you dead to rights for speeding. They're gonna write you a damn ticket. I think we're gonna start working my way back home. I think we're gonna go back to 421 and come back up. So there are bus services available that run through downtown. Basically they'll run from the chip to downtown. From the chip, or I should say from the chip, or the throttle, or kickstands and Lampier and everywhere else between the chip and the throttle in downtown. And they go to a bunch of the campgrounds. They go to Spearfish. And a little whistle there. Whistle while you work. I hope this thing is doing a good job of kind of filtering the sun a little bit. But like I said, stay where you're going to end the night. If you're not, make sure you have transportation, be it the bus, Jones Bus. Uber, I believe, is now going to Sturgis during the rally. I could be wrong. Don't be surprised if, I couldn't get an Uber. Well, they might not be there. I thought they were, but I could be wrong. In addition, there's also people that run their own taxi service, so just look and see what's available. You'll find, all sorts of, now the bus is a good option because they kind of go a little bit everywhere. And your week-long pass is generally like $60. I haven't really looked yet to see if they've started. I'm sure they have, but normally, like the first 100 people or something that buy their rally wristband, their rally pass for the bus, you got like 5 or 10 drink coupons. They normally have a beer tub on the bus, and I think last $bucks or something like that. I think a bottle of water was like $3 or something like that. Same for a bottle of pop. I think was like $4. Your day pass, I think, is normally either like $20 or $25. Jones bus is normally going to be right about the same. Uber right after concerts, you know, yeah, if you're going to pay out the wazoo for a ride to wherever. So yeah. But don't ride drunk. That's why, like I was saying, stay where you're going to end the night is a great option, because if you're staying at the Chip and you get liquored up at a concert at the Chip, well, you know, you might have to stumble your way back to your campsite. And if you're going to get liquored up, I wouldn't go on an e-bike. I really wouldn't drive a golf cart either. I mean, yeah, you're not going to get a DUI, but do you want to go through the whole mess should you run into somebody in your golf cart, right, you know, driving a golf cart drunk, and now you've messed up your golf cart, you may have hurt somebody and all that stuff. Yet again, sometimes, to quote a line that I learned from John Yurkovich, who's a sports radio host in the Chicago area, a lot of times, I think we're still recording, I can't tell if I'm looking right into the sun, a lot of times the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. So yeah, like I said, I'm kind of there for all of the rally, for everything. I want to ride. I want to see the cool stuff. I want to see the concerts. I'll probably spend a night on Main Street, especially if I am there for, you know, 10 days to 2 weeks, whatever it's going to be. I'm there for all of it. Yes, I'll probably go to the creator meetup and hang out and try to maybe network and maybe get some tips and figure out a way to get better at doing this, because I suck. I know I only have like 160 subs, and I would have really, really appreciated it if maybe, you know, 1 or 2 more guys. What the hell is it? It's the 86th rally this year, right? So how about 86 more new subs? How about that? Could we challenge that? Maybe? No? Am I asking too much? Okay. But yeah, anyway, if you like this kind of content, if you like the Sturgis content, you know, drop a like, drop a share, drop a sub, drop a comment, tell me I'm an asshole, I don't care. If you have tips of the way you do it, you know, put it down there. There'll be a lot of first-timers every year. I was there 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was, and I feel like I'm sort of getting the hang of how stuff goes. But I think that's enough for this topic, and I'm going to start working my way back. It looks like the court back so far has stayed closed, so that's a good thing. But anyway, you guys be safe. Keep that shiny side up. Keep that greasy side down. I leave 12 weeks from yesterday for Sturgis. As I mentioned before, I will stay 3 nights, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, most likely at the Grand Falls Casino and RV Park, which is just outside of Sioux Falls. It's on the Iowa side, so yeah, being there for 3 nights, the weather's going to be decent. I'm going to unload the bike and put in a little bit of miles in that area. I might try to get around to golfing at some point. I don't know. That is dark down there. It's been kind of spitting on and off. When I cut the grass, it was kind of spitting just a little bit. But, oh, I got to speak. Ew! Woo! Is there going to be another one? No, I don't think so. But if you appreciate the content, I would greatly appreciate it if you would at least give me a like or anything, you know. And if you don't like this kind of content, then make sure you click that dislike button twice. That way you double dislike it. tomorrow to get back on this thing a little bit. Temperature's supposed to drop a little bit tonight. I think tomorrow the high is only supposed to be right about 60. Whereas today it got you close to 75. But yet again, I'll try to cut this now, and I mean it this time. Y'all be safe. Keep that shiny side up, that greasy side down. I will catch you next time, God willing. If you're coming to the Sturgis rally, I might post on the community tab, you know, where I'm staying at. And if I'm hanging out outside my rig, you know, enjoying the evening, the cocktail, maybe the band's warming up, maybe grilling a burger or a steak or something like that, feel free to come by, say hey. I got no problem with that. Absolutely. We can shoot the shies up for a little bit. All right, I'm going to shut up now. All right, see you later.